The Superbike season kicks off the year with the biggest and most prestigious race, the Daytona 200. Last year, Honda's Miguel Duhamel, still limping from a broken leg, gutted out his third Daytona 200 victory, edging Suzuki's Matt Mladen by 14 one-thousandths of a second.
They come through NASCAR 3 and 4 and head for the tri-oval area. 17 is Duhamel, 66 is Mladen. The crowd is on its feet. He's going to try the high side is Mladen, but he will not get it done as Miguel Duhamel picks up his third win in the Daytona 200.
Ironically, Miguel broke the leg again last year and then pinched a nerve in his neck just 4 days ago. Can Duhamel suck it up one more time, or will Mladen get his revenge? We'll find out next on Speed World. From Daytona International Speedway, a perfect day for racing in the conclusion of Bike Week 2000. We're here for the 59th running of the Daytona 200. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, sitting alongside Thomas Stevens, the man who sat on the pole here in 1990 and is our road racing motorcycle expert. And Thomas, we've already mentioned the great battle last year between Miguel Duhamel and Matt Mladen. When it came time for qualifying, Mladen was in the mix. Duhamel was back a little bit, but all of a sudden there was a third name that shot to the top of the charts.
Troy Bayliss, the Vance and Hines Ducati rider. He really put together a great lap, put the thing on the pole. The team's really pumped. We'll have to see how things pan out today.
He did not break Anthony Gobert's record. He did run a 149.075, and Matt Mladen had one last shot at him, but missed by 8 one-thousandths of a second, giving Bayliss his first pole in his first run ever at Daytona. And that's where we find first of our two pit reporters, Dave Reef. He is with Troy Bayliss.
And Marty, it has been an incredible American road racing debut for the 1999 British Superbike champion Troy Bayliss. You're sitting on the pole, and I'm telling you what, you guys are really looking good. You must like Daytona well.
Yeah, you know, the Vance and Hines Ducati is a great bike, and they're a great team. It's on good Dunlop tyres, and you know, I've had a good run all weekend. I've had one little off, but you know, I was just getting the feel for the thing, and you know, I'm happy with how qualifying went. Made a few changes this morning to the bike, and I'm feeling really good on it. So we'll see how it turns out this afternoon.
Reliability is the question we got to ask every year. Can it go the distance this year, do you think?
Yeah, I'm quite confident the bike will go the distance. You know, I'll try and be as easy on as I can, but I'm sure the bike's good for it.
So it's your first Daytona 200, man. Are you nervous?
Yeah, I'm always nervous, you know. I get so tired before the start, but you know, that's pretty normal for me.
He's had 72 hours to think about it, but today he will start the Daytona 200 from the pole.
Well, it will certainly be interesting to see if Troy Bayliss and or Steve Rapp can give Ducati their first win ever here in the Daytona 200. Let's shift gears a little bit, move over to Team Yamaha. Jamie Hacking, if you were with us for the preview show, you know that he went down early in practice, but Thomas, it got worse in the 600 Supersport race.
It was real unfortunate right here. They came up on a lap rider. Jamie really didn't have a chance to set up. Falls down, takes Nicky Hayden with him, and then unbelievably, Josh Hayes runs in one of their bikes. It was pretty ugly, and Jamie wound up being hurt, broke his elbow.
Yeah, Jamie is not going to make it to this race. Now, you heard Thomas mention Nicky Hayden. Well, he is with the other member of our pit crew today, and that is Rick DeBrule, who's also got Miguel Duhamel alongside.
Well, standing by with the recovering Honda team, we want to start with Nicky Hayden. You were involved in that crash in the 600 race on Friday. We got to ask, how you feeling?
I feel all right. I'm a little bit sore, a little bit stiff on my back, but I've seen the chiropractor and got some of the soreness massaged out. So I'm sure when the race starts, I'll be fine, I hope.
First 200, you excited?
Yeah, I'm really excited. This is the biggest race of my life, and I've been working hard to get ready, and the team's done a great job to get the bike ready. So I think it's going to be good.
Now, Nicky's only had a couple days to get back into shape. Miguel Duhamel, he's had about 6 months to get back in shape. And let's talk about the recovery. Last year, you had what everybody called the miracle. You came back, you won this race. How you feel in this race?
I'm feeling a lot better. I mean, the leg's fully healed. Everything's looking really good on that part. Unfortunately, I got a bit of a muscle spasm in my neck this weekend, and had to fly a chiropractor down from Montreal and had to go see one in Miami, and they cut a lot on our testing, but you know, we caught up really well. So I guess the point, the answer to the story there is that I'm feeling good.
Last year you said the victory here surprised even you. Think you can do it again?
Well, you know, I hope I can do it again. I mean, I definitely think I can do it again. I wouldn't probably be here if I didn't. So, yeah, I think we have the team, definitely. We have the bike. The RC51's working really great. So, I'm looking forward to it. I tell you, it's not going to be easy.
All right, Miguel Duhamel looking forward to another surprise. Marty?
Well, I can tell you one thing. He's got a lot more movement in his neck than he did 4 days ago when he pinched that nerve. High up above, you can see Daytona International Speedway. A perfect day for this race. Let's take a look now at our starting grid on the pole and look at the difference there between Bayless and Mladen. 8/1000th of a second. Also on the front row will be the 18-year-old from Owensboro, Kentucky.
Yeah, Nicky Hayden did a great job putting the Honda RC51 on the front row.
Biggest surprise in qualifying was Larry Pegram. On the Ducati, he came in 4th position. Then positions 5 through 14, 52 bikes in all. Miguel Duhamel still in some pain, came in 5th, and then on down through the list. Anybody there stand out?
Well, I mean, naturally, you'd have to give a shout-out for Scott Russell. He's won the thing 5 times, and then you have Trip Nobles here from Macon, Georgia. He's another Harley rider. Hopefully, those guys will be moving up through the field.
Well, the Harleys have definitely had their problems this week. We'll detail that as the race progresses. There you see the completion of our 52 bike field, the 112% rule in effect. If you couldn't go within 112% of the pole, you went home. Look at this crowd. It is really gone haywire here. We've got like 40,000 people in the stands. Stay with us. When we come back, it'll be the 59th running of the Daytona 200.
The 59th Daytona 200 is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Honda Motorcycles, get great deals on customs and gold wings during the road to savings. And by Kawasaki Motorcycles, let the good times roll.
Back at Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 200. And as we get ready for this race, you can see the bikes forming up. Let's take a look at the 3.56 mile layout here at the Speedway. Now, everybody knows that the banking, Thomas, is 31 degrees, except on the tri-oval where it's 18 degrees. And of course, the straightaway is 3,000 feet long. But the infield portion really becomes critical.
No doubt about it. There's a couple of interesting points. The International Horseshoe, the dog legs are a very good place, but turn 5 going onto the banking and the critical chicane off the back straightaway.
Well, for more on the chicane and turn 5, let's take a look at our Chevy track advantages. First up, Rick DeBrule.
Whether you call it turn 5 or just the transition, this is a crucial part of the track. Get it right, you are flying with speed down that backside. Get it wrong, you're playing catch it the whole way. So what's the secret? Really, there's 2 of them. The first part, the entryway right here. This flat section coming off the road course, it's bumpy, different kinds of asphalt. Make sure you're past the lap traffic before you get to this point. Then going up on the embankment, get on the throttle smoothly. Too much wheel spin, you lose speed, and then you're flying. You got it made until you get to the chicane. For the second Chevy track advantage, let's go to Dave Reef.
Rick, it's a restrictor plate that NASCAR uses to tame speed as they get ready to enter NASCAR Turn 3. In motorcycle road racing, they call it a chicane, and it can be very, very tricky. What makes it tough is that it comes at the end of the 3,000-foot-long backstretch here. It's the hardest braking point on the course to make a left-hand turn, followed by a quick right-hand turn. Passing can be at a premium here, as bravado can pay off big time. As important as entering is, so too is exiting. It's a quick right-hander, followed by a left-hander, then the transition to the 31-degree banking. Make a mistake in here anywhere, you will fall back. Bottom line, get through turn 5 and the chicane. You've just gained a huge Chevy track advantage.
And we've already seen how treacherous, with the highlight of what happened in the 600 Supersport race, that chicane can actually be. Now there is Matt Mladen wearing the #1, won the championship last year, but just missed winning here at Daytona. He wants to revenge that loss. All of a sudden, a bike on the front row. Pridmore, Jason Pridmore has pulled off the track, and it looks like this race is going to start without him. So Pridmore left at the gate.
Yeah, that's a shame for Jason right there. Maybe his bike was overheating.
Second wave will be turned loose while the first wave gets underway. Remember, 52 starters, and we're underway with lap #1 of 57. There is the second wave. Mladen and Larry Pegram from his #4 starting position, and Mladen, he and the two of them just swapping that lead back and forth twice in the International Horseshoe.
Yeah, Larry was trying to show him early in the race here that he can just go ahead right by Matt Mladen, but Matt was able to turn back underneath Larry and take the lead again.
Bayless is currently running in the #3 position. Through the hairpin for the first time.
It looks like a good clean start too for the whole field, so that's a good advantage for everyone to get things up and going and let each other sort things out.
Nicky Hayden, you saw there in the 4th position on the 69 Honda RC51. Up onto the banking to turn 1 in NASCAR here at Daytona for the first time, and around through turn 2, and boy, Mladen trying to open up a little bit of distance.
Well, Matt showed a lot of speed this morning, so we'll have to see. I don't know if he's going to try to get away from the field or what, but there's a big mix up here for second place.
Out into the chicane for the first time. Mladen, he did run a 150 and some change in the morning warm-up session and was the quickest, so he's picked up right where he left off. Temperatures are cooler than they were for qualifying.
True, and it's going to be easier on the riders, no doubt about that. We saw Nicky Hayden run down the inside of Troy Bayless. Maybe Troy was a little bit tentative entering the chicane right there.
So they head for the tri-oval to complete the first of 57 laps. It's going to be Matt Mladen out in front. We'll get the margin for you. As you can see, the battle for second really starting to shape up. Hayden is credited with it. Miguel Duhamel is 3rd. Pegram is 4th at the clock. Bayless into that mix now as well.
A little bit of a shuffle, a little bit of a bobble right there by Miguel Duhamel, trying to bring those Dunlop tires up in temperature.
Already, Mladen took a little quick look over his left shoulder, wanted to see who was back there and how far.
And Nicky Hayden, the youngster, he's going to try to close that gap and not let Matt Mladen get away.
On the outside of Larry Pegram, this is a bit of a gutsy move, not able to pull it off.
You know, it almost seems at this point Larry may be holding Troy up just a little bit, so we're going to see if Troy can go ahead and underneath up, and there he goes.
So Bayless gets around, picks up the spot. Miguel Duhamel watches all this. Whoa, wheel spin there on the 88 Ducati. They've lost contact with that lead group. We're going to have to get into the draft mode and reel them back in.
Matt and Nicky definitely trying to pull away, but if these guys get racing too much, that's going to allow the advantage for Mladen and Nicky Hayden to start to stretch it out a little bit.
Well, Pegram took a look inside, but couldn't get it done. So it's Bayless, Pegram, and then Duhamel running in lockstep as they go back out onto NASCAR 3.
These guys are just trying to sort themselves out right here. I know Miguel Duhamel's probably looking down the straightaway, can see the front 2 guys up there, and I'm sure he knows that he needs to make up a little ground. He doesn't want to be this far behind maybe this early in the race.
Well, now we'll get a true sense of what the lap times are going to be here as they come by the stripe, and this time Mladen runs a 150.527. That's exactly what he was clicking off in the morning warm-up.
And Nicky Hayden was up to the task. He ran a 150.543, so Nicky's not going to let Matt get away. I mean, Nicky is definitely the next superstar coming out of America.
18 years old, tossing around this motorcycle like he's been on it for years. Did very well, but as you heard in our pre-race interview, he is a bit stiff and sore from that crash in the 600.
One thing to point out about Nicky, though, he's just a learning machine, so he's out there following someone that has a lot of knowledge, and he's going, oh, okay, that's what he's doing. I'm going to follow him around, see what he has.
Mladen won that #1 plate last year with 1 win at Sears Point, 7 total podium finishes, but he's got Nicky Hayden Plus a lot more coming your way from the Daytona 200.
The 59th Daytona 200 is brought to you by Yamaha, makers of the new line of Bear ATVs. Yamaha, because out here, bears rule.
Battle for first going on right now between the #1 of Matt Mladen and Nicky Hayden. We go on board with our Chevy trucks onboard camera. Action continuing here on the infield portion of the 3.56-mile layout. Marty Reed along with Thomas Stevens, Rick DeBrool, Dave Reef. Glad you could join us. Whoa, a little bit of wheel spin there from the #1.
Yeah, but Matt Mladen getting that thing spun up just a little bit. But the guy that's coming into the picture right now is Troy Bayless.
Let's get an update on the changes that were made from the morning warm-up. Rick DeBrool, what you got?
Well, Marty, you know, this track is unique in that these guys haven't been on the track since Friday. There's so many events that go on for Bike Week, they don't even touch the track on Saturday. So this morning, first chance they had to get back on with these weather conditions. Everybody was a little different. Matt Mladen, they made no changes this morning. Nicky Hayden and Miguel Duhamel both made slight spring changes. As for Troy Bayless, according to the team, they made a big change this morning. Now they're waiting to find out if it's really going to work.
Well, we should point out also we did have overnight showers, which obviously washed off a lot of the race rubber, so that would change track conditions as well.
A little bit slicker as far as around the racetrack, but the good thing about the cooler temperatures, it keeps the riders cool and it gives the tires a little bit longer life in their 17, 18 lap running in the pits.
It will definitely be a two-stop race for these teams. As coming by the stripe this time, we'll have 53 laps remaining. And what's Mladen running? Well, a respectable 151.2. So he slowed the pace down a little, trying to conserve that tire.
Settling down just a little bit. Doesn't want to burn up his equipment, but that gives Troy Bayless a little bit of time to close back up on these guys because he knows he doesn't want them to get away.
Well, Bayless ran the quickest lap of our race leaders at 1 minute 50.7 seconds. So yeah, he did get on it just a touch. There you see him in third. They come through the kink. This kink, I mean, it doesn't look that fast from where we're sitting, but you've been out there. It really is.
Very, very fast through there, Marty. No doubt about it. Those guys come through there. One thing where you can see Matt Mladen spin up a little bit, and Nicky Hayden getting his bike spun up pretty good too. You just can't really see how much wheel spin these bikes are putting out. I mean, 168 horsepower at the counter shaft. These are some fast, fast motorcycles.
Up onto the banking, Matt Mladen. Open up a little bit of distance over Nicky Hayden.
I think what we're seeing right there with Nicky Hayden, maybe a little that early adrenaline starting to wear off. He's trying to settle down into a comfortable pace. He knows it's a long day, and Matt Mladen knows that too. But Matt is in such good shape, and he just keeps pushing and pushing.
Top speed heading into the chicane, and then how much do you brake? How slow are you going?
Well, coming down the back straightaway, we're probably looking somewhere around 165 to 170 miles an hour. You slow down to about 80 miles an hour, so it's a pretty good struggle speed. A lot of wind blasts when you sit up after going 170 miles an hour.
Definitely have to be fit. Every one of these riders on a very strict training regimen, and we'll find out who the fittest is today, because 57 laps around here on two wheels will definitely take it out of you. This time by Nicky Hayden, the quickest at a 1:50.990, and he has pulled right up on the back wheel of Matt Mladen.
Another thing to point out, one thing these leaders really have to keep in the back of their mind is don't push too hard, because if you chunk a tire or have some kind of tire problems where you have to make an extra pit stop, you're pretty much done as far as your chances of winning the race.
Well, Matt Mladen is out in front. Suzuki hasn't won this race since '88. Don Sakakura is the man who's responsible for the program, and he's with Rick LeBron.
DT manager Don Sakakura. Let's talk about the pace that Matt Mladen is setting, because he is blistering this track right now. Is that the plan?
Yeah, the plan was to get out early and set a comfortable pace. Right now they're running about a second and a half off of their qualifying times.
Now this looks blistering to us. You're calling it comfortable.
Yeah, for him I think it is. It's going well.
All right, now you got a young pup right behind you, Nicky Hayden. He may not be thinking 200 miles. Does Matt at some point have to back off and say, I'm not going to race this kid?
Yeah, he's for sure the more experienced out of the two riders. I think Troy Ballas is up in that group as well. So Matt will use his head. He knows what to do.
Long 200-mile race.
Thank you.
You see the guys standing up, as Thomas pointed out, catching that big wind gust. As they make their way through the chicane, we're going to make our way to the commercial break. Stay running a lot more coming your way from Daytona International Speedway. We wrap up Bike Week 2000 with Daytona 200. Back at Daytona International Speedway, a new leader. This is young Nicky Hayden made a nice outside pass going into turn number 1 to take the lead from Matt Mladen. And there's Troy Bayliss running in third. These three guys have basically pulled away. Here's the pass, Thomas.
Great move right here. Nicky just kind of forces the issue a little bit, coming on the outside of Matt Mladen. Matt picks him up in his side vision there and goes, okay, kid, if you want to lead it for a while, take it away.
And the vast majority of the fans that always seem to find their way down towards turn 1, because there's so much action that goes on down there, you can hear them cheering as it took place. Whoa! Hayden steps the rear wheel out a little bit, regains control. How many times can you afford to get a lot of that wheel spin before you break that tire? Remember, that's what hurt Nicky in his premier race at Pikes Peak in the season finale last year. He was in control, but he just put the tire.
Just used up a little bit too much tire. Yeah, the tires can take a certain amount of spinning because the camera just picks up the major spins as far as when the bike starts moving around. If you add a sensor on the rear tire, it spins all the way up the bank.
Well, we've already heard from the Suzuki camp. What about what's going on in the Honda camp, Dave? You got Ray Plum?
Well, Marty, I can tell you when Nicky Hayden made that pass, the Red Riders here were it was right in front of you guys, and it was a great, great way. What have you done to this rider to get him ready for this? It's his first ever, and he's a young lion.
He's a young lion. He's got a lot of determination. He's thinking, he's a very smart thinker, and he's got a lot of racing knowledge for such a kid.
What kind of advice did you give him about the early laps of this race?
Well, actually, he's worked with his crew pretty closely, and I'm pretty sure their advice to him was just, make sure and bring it home for 200 miles. You just got to be consistent and fast.
If Nicky Hayden should win today, he would become the youngest ever to win the Daytona 200, Marty.
Well, he's lost the lead because of the draft. Mladen has regained it. Bayliss is in this mix as well. These three have pulled away by 6 seconds over Miguel Duhamel, Doug Chandler, Aaron Yates, and Larry Pegram.
This is a great scrap as far as action for the fans and everyone watching on the TV. This is what we want to see. We want to see 3, 4, 5 guys go at it for the whole Daytona 200. This is action. This is what I want to see as a former racer too, Marty.
Well, we're working lap number 8 of 57, though. And I guess my question is, when you're running laps at 150 and change, are you going to be able to make that tire last that full run, or are you going to have a problem?
Well, at this point in the run, the first tire, it's already starting to definitely drop off. You can see Nicky getting a little bit more wheel spin there coming out of the infield. So you're going to probably see the pace back down a little bit into the 151s. And they're just going to pace each other around. pit stops come into play, and that's a big factor as far as the Daytona 200.
And pit stops, we're talking in the 7-8 second range that are really good pit stops, and we've seen guys blow them and end up with 15, 16, and even worse. There is Troy Bayliss. He is running in third. Let's get an update from the Vance and Hines camp. Rick DeBrule.
Indeed, standing by with team manager Jim Leonard, who is watching the television set very closely, watching his man go by on the high banks. And let's talk about Troy, the fact that he's a true rookie at this place. He's never raced here before.
Yeah, he's very green here, so we've impressed upon him that 57 laps around here is an endurance race, so he's being very patient. He's taking care of the equipment right now.
He may be a rookie, but he's not young. He's very experienced. He knows how to ride. He knows how to save the bike.
He's very sharp. He's very talented, and he wants to win.
Now, let's talk about the fact you guys made a big change this morning in the morning session to adapt to things. Are you confident with that now, the way he's running right now?
At the moment, it looks great what we did this morning. Basically, we did a little test this morning because the conditions changed quite a bit from the earlier testing we did in the week. So right now, everything looks good.
He's happy, but then the race is very early. Jim Leonard.
Well, his man is staying right on the back wheel of the 69 of Nicky Hayden. The last lap was at 1 minute 50.9 seconds, so these guys have slowed the pace about half a second, but still doing very well as they are pulling away even more from fourth place Miguel Duhamel. He is 8 seconds behind this lead group.
Pretty fast pace right there. Nicky Hayden's able to suck it up each time Mladen starts to put his head down. Nicky seems to go right with him, and it looks like Troy at this point is kind of sitting back in the catbird seat just to see how fast the pace really is.
Whoa, Mladen has a problem. He blows the chicane.
Big mental mistake right there from Matt Mladen early in the race. I think maybe Nicky coming up on the inside of him, maybe, just got his train of thought, might have missed his brake marker a little bit, and that's just very uncharacteristic of Matt.
He did it in qualifying, though, as we are going to get a chance to take a second look at this. He did the same thing when he got too deep and had to get out of it.
I think that might have just played right into his bet. Yeah, it's really hard to say. You can see Nicky coming up on it, but at this point, Matt has it. He just gets on the rear brake too much, starts to get the thing crossed up a little bit, and decides, hey, I need to take the easy way out. It's still early in the race. It'll just give Matt Mladen another reason to charge through the field.
Well, getting back on track, he is now 3.6 seconds behind in third place. The battle for the front spot now is between Nicky Hayden on the 69 Honda RC51 and then the Vance and Hines Ducati 996 with Troy Bayliss on top. So as these guys are running around this 3.56 mile layout at Daytona, working lap number 10, we got to take a commercial break. Back after this. Racing action continues at Daytona as Miguel Duhamel crosses the stripe. And now it looks like Troy Bayliss, while we were on Miguel, has taken the lead from Nicky Hayden. Yes, he has, as they head into the International Horseshoe. So Bayliss, although he has not yet crossed the line to be officially scored as the race leader, it's the first time that he's been at the point.
It's good to see the Vance and Hines Ducati guys right up front. Troy Bayliss is doing a great job. He's just watching his pit board. He knows at this point he probably has about a 7-8 lap margin as far as when he's going to come in for his next tire. So he's going, okay, I can start to put my head down, maybe push a little bit before spin the tire just a little bit more.
Well, one thing for certain, Vance and Hines has certainly got a prize on their team. I mean, not only Anthony Gilbert was a great racer, but he was a lot of problems off the track, what we would call high maintenance. Bayless has not been that. Let's get more from pit lane with Rick DeBrule.
Well, we've been talking about the question when they're going to come in for tires. The big issue is which tires are they using. You know, these guys, the front factory teams are all running the Dunlops. They have 3 separate tire choices in the back. They jokingly call them hard, really hard, and super hard. Some of the teams are using mediums. For example, the Honda guys are on the mediums. The Ducati guys, I got to tell you, they said they don't want to tell me anything. They'll tell me at the end of the day what tire choice they're using. But Matt Mladen, for example, he is using the hardest compound that's available. Everybody's got a different approach here at Daytona. And the question is, which one's going to hold up best when they get to the end of this tire window?
And a pass for the lead as Nicky Hayden has retaken the top spot. So Hayden runs a 1:52.3, so the times are really starting to slow down here. And you can see a lot of the wheel spin. Whoa, Nicky twitches an awful lot going down under the infield section into the International Horseshoe.
Spinning, spinning, spinning. It's a pretty neat contrast right here, Marty. You're looking at the Ducati 996, the world champion bike, but it's a few years old, and you have the brand new debut of the RC51. Honda's put out a great machine right here, so it's a real neat battle. Another thing to point out, Marty, is that racing together with another guy, especially in a race that's this long, it fuels you a lot more, as opposed to, say, if you're just way out front. You know, you're just way out front. All you have to do is look at the pit board. It's not quite as exciting. It doesn't keep your adrenaline, or you're not so much on the edge as far as concentration.
Let's talk a little bit about this RC51. You've had a chance to look at it. What do you like about it, the changes that they've done from the 45?
Well, it's a Honda. What else can you really say? Honda never does anything halfway. They pretty much studied what the bike they needed to win the World Championship with, or win AMA races, and they built themselves a really great bike. It's really interesting.
Some lap traffic in there now between our race leader Nicky Hayden and Troy Bayless. Bayless is going to get around him. Stay with us. We've got to take a commercial break here at Daytona. Hayden, the 18-year-old sensation, his first ever 200. He's out in front, and pit stops are in the future very soon.
The 59th Daytona 200 is brought to you by Suzuki. During Suzuki Fest 2000, get $400 worth of free accessories and great financing on selected models.
And our skybox seats, courtesy of the Monster.com blimp, and that's Trump providing live action from this afternoon's race. Monster.com, the leading global careers website, over 5 million members worldwide. Are you a member yet? Monster.com for work, life, possibilities. There is our race leader, Nicky Hayden, as he continues to motor around this racetrack. He has completed 16 laps of the 57, so we're expecting to see some pit stops here in the not too distant future. This time by, he will have completed lap number 17, and his margin over second place Troy Bayless is a half a second right now.
Nicky's working really hard to try to put some traffic between him and Troy Bayless on the Vance & Hines Ducati, but it just seems like every time that he makes one of those moves, Troy's able to match it.
While all this action is going on, we'll tell you that Matt Mladen, after missing the chicane, has maintained that 3-second margin. He is still back in third behind Hayden and Bayless. Then in fourth is Miguel Duhamel, and then it's Aaron Yates, Scott Rapp, and there is Doug Chandler in 7th place. And that's a little further back than we expected him to be on the Kawasaki.
It seems like Doug's trying to be a little bit conservative I don't know. Maybe he's having a little bit of tire problems right now, or he's just keeping, like I said before, some guys one eye on the championship, one eye on winning the Daytona 200.
Yeah, but this is the one race in his career that he has never won. And Larry Pegram, the first of our factory riders, in for a pit stop.
Be interesting to see how fast they get this thing done. They've gone past 8 seconds. It's a little bit long.
Trouble it looked like with the rear. Rick, you there?
You hear me? Hello there. Yeah. Sorry, trying to get it all to work. Apparently, the problem was they decided that they need a slightly softer compound in the rear tire. That's why they went ahead and came in just a little bit early. The funny thing was they had motioned to the team to come in a long time ago. The driver rider had. He said he wanted to come in a few laps ago, but as a result, he wasn't able to come in for a couple laps. We just had Jason Pridmore came in. He is sitting there on the bike, and you can see the team in consultation, and it does not look good. We're going to go ahead and work our way down there and see if we can't find out what's actually going on. In fact, Jason Pridmore is getting off the bike, and obviously his day has come to an end. Remember, he stalled out on the grid, had a problem. Let's see if we can catch up to him here and find out what the actual problem is. Jason, what happened?
The thing just keeps dying for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why, but it died on me twice on the starting line, and it's kind of running intermittent in the infield and everything, and not really sure what happened, but it's a really frustrating day.
Just a case of calling it quits now? You can't, or can you get it back out there?
Hopefully we'll get it back out there and get some points, but it just kind of keeps dying on me, and I don't want to be a safety problem, you know?
Race started tough, and it isn't going any better.
Yeah, that's that kind of way the week was.
Jason Pridmore trying to get back into this race.
And the sad part is he had worked his way into 13th position, and so it looks like Jason's day is going to be complicated, to say the least. It's not complicated right now for Nicky Hayden and Troy Bayliss. They are running 1-2, but lurking not too far in the shadows. See that number 1? Yes, Matt Mladen is working his way back into the mix.
And he's clawing his way back up. He put in a 1:52.1, almost a full second faster than these two lead riders. So Matt Mladen coming back through.
Question now is how far will each of the teams try and stretch the fuel and the tires?
Pretty interesting different line there that Troy Bayliss was taking around the bottom of the racetrack. I don't think that's just a little bit of lack of experience on Troy's part, although he's the one riding the bike. Maybe he thought he could get a little bit better run coming off the bank.
Well, you see all top 3 riders right there in the same camera shot. Bayliss way high. Came awfully close to the wall. You know, when do you think these guys will make these stops? I mean, we're already seeing some of the teams come in. And it could be our answers coming in with Nicky Hayden. He is heading down towards pit lane. And also Matt Mladen is going to follow him. So Troy Bayliss is going to stay out one lap more. And there is no speed limit on pit lane. You notice Mladen go blasting past. This is going to be interesting to see which pit crew can get their rider out. There is Hayden.
This is Nicky Hayden's first ever pit stop in a Superbike. Good, quick one. Looking for about an 8-second turnaround, 2 tires and gas. That's just what Nicky Hayden has done. A very quick turnaround for the Honda team.
And Mladen's crew did just as well. In fact, Mladen is out in front of Hayden, so a little bit quicker. Sometimes that is pit position, sometimes that's your pit crew, sometimes it's your rider because he can get on the throttle quicker. There's more action on pit road. The number 30 is in. See all the activity behind there as Troy Bayliss has stayed out. He has picked up the lead, and there is the 22, and that's Tommy Hayden.
The Yamaha, all the factory riders are coming in, getting their tires. It was interesting to see that Mladen and Nicky Hayden both put on brand new Dunlop tires.
Tommy Hayden came in 8th position, and he's already back out underway. We told you pit stops in this sport, fast and furious. Stay with us. Troy Bayliss has yet to make his stop. We'll take a commercial break, update you when we get back to the Daytona 200. Back at Daytona, Miguel Duhamel comes into the pits. He was running in 4th position. Just that quick. And that is Steve Rapp, the other Vance & Hines Ducati, as he has made his stop as well. There is Miguel pulling back out onto the racetrack. 2 good pit stops.
Very, very fast pit stops. Miguel Duhamel trying to get a little bit of a drink there, to get a little bit of hydration back in him. And Steve Rapp coming in, the Vance & Hines Ducati guys did a really good job for his stop.
And I know some of you at home are saying, wait a minute, Marty says Duhamel and Thomas says Duhamel. Which way is it? Realistically, it has always been pronounced both ways. It just depends on whether. And there's Scott Russell going back out. And he was in 11th position and worked his way through higher thanks to all the pit stops. But he has not been a factor in this race. The Harleys have been struggling. But we get to finish Duhamel scenario. He listens and acknowledges both. And it just depends on whether you like the French-Canadian pronunciation or the American version. Russell making his way around the track. This has got to be very frustrating. Mr. Daytona, 5-time winner, and this bike just isn't very competitive right now.
The Harley guys worked really, really hard in the off-season as far as suspension settings, trying a different swing arm, but unfortunately, as Steve Scheibe said before, no power.
Pit stop for our leader, Troy Bayliss. Rick, you there?
Troy Bayliss brings it in. Troy Bayliss, they scrapped the old pit equipment because they said it wasn't fast enough, built new stuff, and that worked great. He is out in fast one.
So now we'll have to wait and see how it shakes out for the race lead. Can he hold on to it, or will it cycle through? We'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, let's get back to the Scott Russell story. He has been critical of the team's effort and preparation. Not enough grunt in this Harley-Davidson power plant, and he feels like, why do you have me if you don't want me to be able to win this race?
It's unfortunate. It's just frustration speaking as far as on Russell's part. You know, he's a racer. He wants a bike to win, and it's unfortunate the Harley guys haven't been able to step up and give him the bike to win. I mean, everyone, as far as fan-wise, are glad to see Harley-Davidson's participation, but the riders, they want a winning machine.
Well, and at least he's getting to ride this year. Remember last year, a couple of days before the race, he got his face rearranged to the point that he couldn't get a helmet put on in a barroom fight. So, you know, he couldn't even make the start. So at least he's out there making tracks and scoring some points. And Scott Russell coming by the stripe one more time.
5-time Daytona winner right there. I mean, Scott Russell has a wealth of knowledge, but something's happened to the Harley. He slowed down.
Yeah. Russell had slowed. Now take a look. There is your race leader, Matt Mladen. We saw Russell slowing there just at the end. We'll get back to that when we get a chance. It may be that Scott Russell's day is over. Meanwhile, the battle up front is between Matt Mladen and Nicky Hayden.
This is a fantastic battle right here. Troy Bayliss, after his pit stops, been able to catch back up to these leading two. So everybody in the 8-second pit stop range, keeping the Daytona 200 very exciting.
And at the stripe, who's going to have it? Officially, the scoring clock says it will be Mladen. But boy, Hayden right behind. Now it says Hayden. Now all of a sudden, now it's Bayliss. And just that quick. I mean, in less than a corner, 3 different leaders.
Fantastic. The fans are going crazy down to turn 1. Troy Bayliss using the double draft to go ahead by these two other fast riders. So good job for Troy. He just stuck it right in there.
Another pit stop there. That is Doug Chandler. He came into the pits in 4th position and is back out underway. Chandler on the factory Kawasaki. Of course, if you were with us for our preview show, you know that they took that effort in-house this year. Rob Muzzy no longer in charge of that effort. In fact, Chandler, one of the only real holdovers as they literally have rebuilt this team.
Mike Preston with Team Kawasaki went out and hired the best, Gary Medley and Al Ludington, as far as for crew chiefs for Doug Chandler and Eric Bostrom. And they're going to have a great year. Kawasaki really stepped up as far as equipment-wise. It's just right now, it's just a long day for Doug Chandler, but he's keeping an eye on the championship.
So Chandler, as we said, came in 4th position. He's probably given up a spot or 2 due to pit stops. We'll wait for official scoring next time by. When he came came into the pits, he was 23 seconds behind the race lead. So that gives you an idea just how off the pace that the three-time AMA champion is at this point.
Doug Chandler has big talent, Marty. He's won in almost every discipline of racing. He's won flat tracks before. He's been on the podium at GPs, and he's won a lot of superbike races.
Back to the race lead, and it is Matt Mladen scoring at the line. Troy Bayliss in first, Mladen second, Hayden running in third. That's a slower lap rider there in front of them, the 81 of Thomas Hari. Stay with us. We've got to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll pick up this great three-bike battle at the Daytona 200.
The 59th Daytona 200 is brought to you by Yamaha, makers of the new line of Bear ATVs. Yamaha, because out here, bears rule.
Bright orange Monster over the track today. The Monster.com blimp. Trump is bringing us our magnificent views. Visit Monster.com today, whether you're currently looking for a new job or want to get ahead in your current one. Monster.com can help. Monster.com for work, life, possibilities. Back to the race lead here at the Daytona 200 as we are working lap number 28 of 57. Not yet to the halfway point. There is your race leader, the 88 of Troy Bayliss, Nicky Hayden in the 69 Honda. In second, Matt Mladen running in third. And we're coming up again on some lap traffic.
Getting ready to go past Jimmy Moore, one of our 750 Supersport riders. In the previous day action racing. Oh, you see Troy Bayliss just splitting them. That was pretty close, but you can see the speed difference right there, Marty.
Wow. And remember, there's no mirrors, so the guys in front, they have no idea until the last minute that you're there. Now there is Pascal Picard in the 21, the 72 of Larry Pegram. That is a battle for 8th and 9th on the racetrack. So a good battle going on there, even though it's not up front.
Pascal's a hard rider. You can see right there trying to go around the outside of Larry Pegram. I don't know if he got that done or not, but yeah, I'm kind of off a little bit as far as I'm surprised that Larry Pegram's not running closer to the front, but they came in to try to get a softer tire. He started with the harder one. Maybe they were having a little bit of a tire problem. So it's a shame to see Larry going back, but Pascal, he's doing a great job carrying the Harley banner.
Larry, 5th in the points last year from Columbus, Ohio, lives in Baltimore right now. And 99 picked up his first Superbike win at Willow, but as you say, right now he's not in contention up front.
Larry Pegram, Baltimore, Ohio, carrying the banner right there for the Ohio people.
And it looks like Pascal Picard is going to have to carry the banner for the Harley Davidson camp, because Russell has fallen back considerably after a bit of a mishap. We'll try and get more on that. Let's go down to pit lane. Before we do that, let's go back to the battle for first. Bayliss and Nicky Hayden. Here comes Bayliss. You can see the braking as they head into the chicane.
This is action-packed battle right here. This is fantastic. For the Daytona 200, a lot of times, Marty, it's a sleeper. I mean, one guy's just dominant. Scott Russell's been in the past years, and to see 3 guys right here going for the lead for the Daytona 200, and this is what the fans come out for, and the people tuning in on the TV too. This is great racing.
Coming to the stripe at Daytona International Speedway. And the lead is going to change hands one more time as we're now working lap number 30. 57, Nicky Hayden up front. Troy Bayliss in second. Matt Mladen in third.
It looks like to me in this battle right now that no one really has a superior bike as far as speed goes. So that's going to set up for a very interesting and a very exciting finish for the Daytona 200 if these 3 guys are still going after it after the next pit stop.
So technically we are at the halfway point now of this race. Young Nicky Hayden doing very well in his first ever Daytona 200. Going to try the outside line here. That gets a little dicey. Bayliss coming up underneath. The man in the middle is the meat in his sandwich is Dean Misdahl from Huntington Beach, California. And he's going, glad this is over.
Dean's been around for a long time. He's out there. He's having some fun riding the Daytona 200, trying to get a good finish for his sponsors.
Hayden holds on to the top spot. Bayliss trying that low line again, coming through NASCAR's turn 1 and 2. Now gets back into the draft.
Well, he tries to get a run on Nicky Hayden using the low line, but you can see right there he had to back out the throttle a little bit because the low line will run you up to the wall. And that's somewhere where a motorcycle doesn't do too well.
A lot of traffic now. Hayden is going to have to be extra careful. Now he can get back on the throttle. Gets around the 91 of Richie Morris. And look at the speed differentials. These guys darting in and out. And here comes Bayliss on the outside. He's going to try the high line as they head for the tri-oval. Nope, Nicky Hayden's going to hold on to the lead one more time, but just by a bike length.
Good move there by Troy, using the low line to go ahead and sweep past Nicky Hayden. But at this point, they're still just feeling each other out. They just want to see where they need to be as far as maybe for the finish of the race. Plus, it makes it exciting for them as racers, too.
While all this action is going on, I do want to update you. Steve Rapp has moved up in the 4th position. So Rapp, which is Bayliss's teammate, is doing very well. He had dropped back quite a bit at the start. So he is well back, though. I mean, he has yet to even cross the finish line stripe. It is basically a 3-bike race for the win right now here at Daytona with 27 laps to go.
And you can see the 3 riders there just a second ago passing. Oh, Troy getting a little crossed up. They just passed the pit signal board on this pit signals on the infield. And it's kind of interesting. Sometimes, Marty, there's so many guys that jump out there, it's hard to see your pit board. So another thing that I used to do when I'd come off the banking is I'd look over to the Winston Cup tower that points out your position so that you can say, okay, like Steve Rapp is probably going, where am I if he can't see his pit board? He knows he's in 4th position.
It helps if you're in the top 9. Other than that, you're lost because that's the only 9 positions are listed on that Winston Tower that Thomas is referring to. This battle is continuing, and we're going to continue with it. Troy Bayliss in front, but we've got to take a commercial break. Stay with us. Back after this. For this Suzuki flashback, we go back to 1988 and Kevin Schwann's gunning for his first Daytona 200 win.
Daytona, I think, in 1988 for me was a do or die year here at Daytona. It was the memories of '87. I had '87 all the way up until almost the final pit stop. I felt like the race really under control, then the crash and the chicane. To come back here in '88, I just felt like it was my turn to win. There's so many other elements of Daytona there. There's the factor of the race is 200 miles, every pit stop being perfect, you're riding the bike properly, not having any mechanical failures. It's just such a coin flip to come here and expect to do good. To win the race is a real bonus for me.
Scott Scott Russell has pulled into pit lane, and it looks like this could be a problem. This is not a scheduled stop for the Harley, and he's come in very slow. And he's off the bike.
Yeah, he's frustrated. Scott Russell right there, just getting off the bike. The Harley's cacked out again. It's just a shame to see it, especially this early in the race.
Well, he had slowed once before, went back out. Dave, what's going on?
Trying to catch up with Scott Russell, who's very, very disappointed and absolutely refuses to talk. He's on a mission to the infield. Let's see if we can get a word with any of the other guys down here. Looking for Steve Scheibe. Steve, you're getting a chance to look down at the bike right now. Any ideas what the problem was?
No, we haven't got a list of complaints yet here.
Well, they will continue to look, and as we can update this condition, we will.
Well, his teammate Pascal Picard is running in 9th position, but obviously Mr. Russell just didn't want to talk. I mean, he beelined it for the paddock area and back to the motor coach where he can change, and probably he'll be out of town before this race is over. He came here with one mission. He wants to win this race as many times, put it out of reach so that nobody else can touch his record, and they didn't have it. Whoa, Bayless. It's a bit of too much of a twitch. So a tough break for Scott Russell and all the fans at Harley-Davidson. He is out of this race. Meanwhile, the battle up front continues. The margin between the top three is less than a second. It has been that way pretty much from the start of the race. In fact, it has been no wider than ever in 3.6 seconds when Matt Mladen went shooting through the chicane, recovered well enough to fall from first to third.
Troy Bayless getting a little crossed up right there. I saw him look down. He's probably looking, maybe checking the temperature or something like that on his dashboard there on his Ducati.
There you see the top 5, Steve Rapp ahead of Miguel Duhamel. They are 47 seconds. They got a great battle going on between the two of them, but they're 47 seconds behind this battle for the race lead. It's hard for us to go back to show any of these other great battles because these guys keep swapping the lead on an average of not once every lap or so.
And this is definitely what the fans come out to see. An exciting Daytona 200. So we'll have to keep watching and trying to keep up with all these lead changes.
Well, certainly it's an unofficial count, but looking at the grandstands, this place holds well over 100,000 on the front straightaway. We think there's about 40,000 in the grandstands, probably about another 15 or 20 on the infield, so a great crowd. Look at this action at the stripe. These guys just going after. Whoa! That is getting a little too close. Young Nicky Hayden manages to hold on to the race lead through turn 1.
Well, Matt Mladen had said before in some of his comments leading up to the race, he knows what kind of racer Troy Bayless is. He's the kind of guy that's an aggressive guy that will stick it up there, and it just showed.
Bayless, Mladen, Nicky Hayden, all of them just a great job here. There you see Mladen in front of Bayless now as he's got the point. Hayden's looking on and coming on behind these two, and it is nose to tail still. I think the lap track is going to be a factor throughout the rest of this race. You just hope that it doesn't get in the way on the last lap, because this could be the best 3-bike finish. We've had some great ones, including last year. 14 1,000th of a second between first and second, but this could be the best 3-bike finish we've ever had in the history of the Daytona 200.
John Jacoby is the rider that they were splitting right there. He's trying to get out of the way without any of these guys running over him, but these bikes are so much faster they didn't have a problem getting by.
Well, Bayless and Hayden are beating up on each other for second. Meanwhile, Mladen has opened up a little bit of a margin, but not enough to take a breath. There you get their idea of the gap. They make their way back up on the banking. Bayless again goes to high side. There is underneath Nicky Hayden. Will he make the position pass for second? It looks like he's going to do it. We're going to have to take a commercial break. Nope, Bayless is going to stay in that slot. Matt Mladen is up front. Back after this.